Barnwell here to play a little game called If I Were. So, Jeff Darlington, if you were Matthew Stafford, would you want to be traded?
Matt, no, I would not. Now, I'm not saying it's going to necessarily be all his choice, but you got to remember here, the grass is not always greener, and Matthew Stafford should know that. 12 seasons in Detroit, he played with 4 head coaches, never won a playoff game, got to the playoffs 3 times, ended up getting bounced right away. Goes to the Rams, all of a sudden, Super Bowl year 1. He knows it. Sean McVay is exceptional at coaching Matthew Stafford. Grass isn't always greener. Give Aaron Rodgers a call if you're curious how that could work out.
All right, Bill Barnwell, piggyback on Darlington. Is L.A. the best place for Stafford to finish his career?
Of course it is. What are the alternatives here? The Giants? The Steelers? The Raiders? I mean, are any of those places going to give you a better offensive coach than Sean McVay, a better receiver than Puka Nacua, a better offensive line, better conditions to throw the football in? Of course not. This is the second highest paid player in the history of the National Football League. Is it worth going to one of those other places for $10 million more a year, maybe?
No, it's not. And you mentioned these teams that sound horrid for Matthew Stafford to go to, and quality of life probably better out there for him in the L.A. area. All right, D. Woody, your time. If you were the 49ers, would you want Brock Purdy as your franchise quarterback?
Absolutely. He's a homegrown talent, guy that you drafted in the 7th round. And he's turned into a top 5 quarterback that we have in this league, operating the top 5 offense. Since Brock Purdy became the starting quarterback back in 2022, he's been every bit of that. So you got a guy you drafted, you got one of the best play callers in the National Football League in Kyle Shanahan. Absolutely, you re-sign that guy.
So, and Jeff Darlington, on the re-signing front, what do we know about any contract dealings between Purdy and the Niners?
They've made very clear they do not want to slow step this thing. They want to get this deal done. The 49ers have dealt with contract drama each of the past several years with different guys, whether Ayuk or Bosa. They don't want it to happen with Purdy. Easier said than done, though, when you've got a quarterback who's expecting market value between $55-60 million a year.
You can't argue anything this guy's done since he was drafted last in the NFL and has led them to big heights. You got to keep a franchise quarterback there if you're Purdy to get the deal done. Bill Barnwell, it is your turn for If I Were. And if you were the Steelers, would you want to trade for Jacksonville Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence?
Of course I would. This offense has been horrific for the past 4 seasons. They're 26-5 when this offense scores 20 points or more over the last 4 seasons. Second best win rate in football, tied with the Bills. The problem is they score 20 points at the 4th lowest rate of any offense in football over the last 4 years. I know Trevor Lawrence, maybe not the guy people expected coming out of school, but he is a league average, maybe better than league average quarterback. That's exactly what the Steelers need to start winning more serious competition.
Yeah, you tout him coming out of Clemson a few years ago, what they were saying about him, a generational prospect. We haven't seen that just yet. You wonder if it's the surrounding piece. He's got the one playoff win. It was an impressive one at that. But, D. Woody, you feel strongly about this, about the Steelers in particular, about what they should not do this offseason. What is that?
Yeah, listen, you can't stand pat. Like they need a bold move. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, if you look at them offensively, outside of the wide receiver, like they don't have anyone that scares you.
Right.
You know, Pickens, outside of him, there's no one that scares you. And so if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you need to make a bold move at quarterback. Okay? Russell Wilson's not going to work. Justin Fields not going to work. You need to go out and make some type of bold move to bring some juice to this offense, because Bill Barnwell is right. They just don't score enough points consistently.
Yeah.
If you're going to have any shot at beating teams in your division, the Baltimores, the Cincinnati, the Kansas City's outside, you need to be able to score points consistently, because there's been too much pressure on the Steelers' defense to try to hold other teams down.
Yeah, Darlington, I think the good word for the Steelers is they're kind of stuck. They do just enough to make the playoffs, and then they're stuck. Why do you believe they're stuck?
Well, you talk about a bold move. What is that bold move going to be? They're stuck in part because of their own actions. And that's not to say what they did last year wasn't a smart move. It was just a very risk-reward type of move by bringing in Justin Fields and Russell Wilson on one-year deals and saying, basically, we'll figure this out. Because there was a third option all along. It wasn't just it's either Fields or Russell. The third option was it's neither of them. And neither really necessarily proved that they were worthy of being the franchise guy for the long term. And now, as a result, result, they were good enough to not have a great draft pick. Quite honestly, the free agency class, we talked about it, it's a bunch of aging veterans. It's no clear-cut guy there. Maybe outside Sam Darnold, they're stuck because there really is no great option.
And Woody, Bill Barnwell, Jeff Darlington, we're going to play a game called Would You Believe, D. Woody. You ready?
Yeah.
Would you believe more cap space means the Cowboys make a huge move?
I would not believe that because that's never been Jerry Joe's MO. As far as, going out and signing a bunch of free agents, that's never been Jerry's thing. It's all been about draft and develop. Now, I would say that as far as big moves, signing Micah Parsons to a new deal would constitute as a big move for the Cowboys. But as far as going out and spending outside of that, that's just never been Jerry Jones' thing.
Well, his thing has been signing guys a little bit too late. We'll see how he operates in the Micah Parsons situation this offseason. Okay. Would you believe T. Higgins would make Buffalo the Super Bowl favorite?
I would not believe that. It would definitely help the Buffalo Bills, but I still have questions about Buffalo Bills defense. And so, listen, this Buffalo Bills offense, they transformed last year. Saw them become a lot more run heavy. I think Josh Allen became a much more efficient quarterback. But again, they got issues on the defensive side that I think that needs to be resolved as well.
And the Buffalo, they've just been so close. Them and the Baltimore Ravens, really the same team that's got a Chiefs problem. Can they address any of those in this offseason? Okay, would you believe Myles Garrett would make the Green Bay Packers, go Pack Go, the biggest threat to Philly in the NFC?
I would not believe that. They still got work to do within their own division. I still think the Detroit Lions aren't going anywhere. The Minnesota Vikings are going to have something to say, even with the potential departure of Sam Darnold. So, listen, I'm not sold on Jordan Love. I don't know if the Packers are absolutely sold on Jordan Love with the way they ran the football and the volume in which they ran the football last year. So, even with Myles Garrett, I don't look at them as the team that competes with the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC.
It is interesting. 2 years ago, Bill Barnwell, Jordan Love went on that run towards the end of the season in the playoffs. We're thinking, hey, we're looking at our great next NFC quarterback. But why don't you believe even the Packers are convinced that Jordan Love can carry them to a Super Bowl?
Yeah, the proof is in what you do on game days, the decisions you make, the positions you put your quarterback in, and the Packers are very conservative running the football here. 57% of the time on early downs last year in neutral game scripts, when the games were close, when it wasn't a blowout, they were running the football. Highest rate in football by a significant margin, even higher than the Eagles, who have Jalen Hurts, who's part of the quarterback run game on early downs. Nothing wrong with running the football, but if you have a top 5 guy, if you have a guy who you think is a threat to the other team in the passing game, that they're scared of seeing throw the football, you're throwing the football a lot more on first and second down than the Packers have, not only last year, but the year before. So you want to see some growth from Jordan Love, use him more on those early downs. That's when I think you'll know the Packers believe Jordan Love is a franchise quarterback.
I would counter with Jalen Hurts not being a top 5 guy in the league. Yet they ran the ball with Saquon Barkley. He did just enough to get them to the Super Bowl and then performed highly in a Super Bowl. So I don't know that it's necessarily a detriment to a quarterback if you've got a good running game.
No, it's not. It's not a detriment, but I do think Bill brought up a point. The proof is in the pudding. The fact that in the way in which the volume in which they ran the football and the contract that they paid Jordan Love, I think the Green Bay Packers have some reservation if he's ready right now to be the franchise guy.
Darlington, what do you think?
I don't necessarily think it's about Jordan Love. It's about the team around him. And I believe that the Packers are convinced Jordan Love is a capable quarterback in a championship game, just as the Eagles did with Jalen Hurts. It's about the foundation that's built around him. And to that, I don't think the Packers are ready for a Super Bowl run yet.
Again, you got to build the piece. Everybody always focuses on the quarterbacks. That's just the NFL. But fact of the matter is, there's things outside the quarterback that control how long you can go in the postseason. Offensive lineman and Dallas Cowboys history has opted to retire, sources told our Todd Archer. Martin met with owner and general manager Jerry Jones on Thursday to inform him of his decision. Martin was a 9-time Pro Bowler selection in 11 years with the Cowboys and first-team All-Pro pick 7 times, which puts him in some elite company with the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys lost one key player, but good news, salary cap expanding next season, of which Micah Parsons gave us the LFG when he quote tweeted our Dan Graziano. The cap will have increased by more than $53 million over the next 2 years. Okay, so We're going to play a game with Bill Barnwell, Fit the Bill. You're going to give us a 5-step plan for the Dallas Cowboys to fix them. I'm impressed you can do it in 5 steps. So fit the bill, starting with 1. Bill Barnwell, take it away.
Number 1, we are re-signing Micah Parsons. This one is easy. He's one of the best defensive players in football, and we're actually going to reduce his cap hit from $24 million on his 5th-year option when we do re-sign Micah Parsons. You're starting there on the defense. Obviously, he's going to get a big contract, but you want to keep your stars around. Dak, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons are your 3 stars on the defensive side of the football. Number 2, we are moving to add some salary cap space here. We're going to restructure Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. This is going to create, this is not an exaggeration, this is going to create $60 million in cap space for the Cowboys. Those guys are sticking around. They're your core. Whether Cowboys fans like it or not, Dak Prescott's going to be there for years to come. Add the Micah Parsons restructure. We're looking at probably $65 million in cap space. That's a lot of money to work with, and we're going to need it for steps 3, 4, and 5 in this plan. Step 3 for the Cowboys. We are adding help at receiver. All the moves they've made have not worked. Haven't invested much in the draft since CeeDee Lamb was taken in the 1st round. Their moves with the veterans. They moved on from Amari Cooper. They traded, or they got rid of a bunch of, Brandon Cooks traded for. They got Michael Gallup and re-signed him. That didn't work. Adding a Deebo Samuel to the mix gives a big body, physicality the Cowboys have not had in their offense in several years. He's tormented the Cowboys himself. Deebo Samuel would be a great addition as the number 2, not the number 1, but the number 2 next to CeeDee Lamb. Number 4, the offensive line needs to be replenished now, especially after Zach Martin was retired. Running back, I know Cowboys want to add a guy. Maybe they draft someone. Rico Dowdle's been good, 12th in rushing yards, 4.6 yards per carry last year. But there's a big hole in that offensive line, which is 27th in spending and cash next year. I would look at Trey Smith, that star Chiefs guard. A plug-and-play replacement for Zach Martin, a big body, a great run blocker in the interior. Cowboys teams have always been good when they have good offensive lines. And then you flip it. Number 5, this is not the sexiest option, but we're looking at the defensive line and that defensive tackle rotation. We're looking at pieces here who are going to help us in short yardage. Last year, the Cowboys were not just the worst red zone defense in football, they were the 4th worst red zone defense of the last decade. That's what happens when you cannot stop the run in short yardage. These are not going to be big names. You're looking at guys like Poona Ford from the Chargers, guys who are going to be big bodies, occasionally make plays in the passing game, but who are going to hold up against the run, the Morgan Foxes of the world. Build that depth, build that defensive line, and get the Cowboys strong on the line of scrimmage to help get them back to where they were at their peak.
Oh, that's it? Okay. 5-step plan.
That's it. We just fixed the Cowboys.
All right, well,
That's take up the whole show.
that's all they have to do.
That's all?
Then I think they're well on their way. D. Wood.
Yeah.
So I would love to get into all 5 of those, but Bill Barnwell did a great job of it.
Yeah.
So maybe add number 6. Like, what do you want to see Jerry Jones do this offseason to get them back into the conversation?
Well, Bill had already referenced it. When the Cowboys were good, they were elite in the trenches. So I would start, how about impending free agent and Trey Smith, the guard from the Kansas City Chiefs? You know, when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line, it was really the interior that was the elite part of that offensive line. So bringing in a guy like Trey Smith to help fortify the Cowboys' interior of their offensive line, I think will go a long way towards rebuilding and reestablishing a line of scrimmage with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, because when you look at their heyday recently, and by heyday I mean winning the division, making the playoffs, Zach Martin, who just retired, he was out there. They always drafted up front back in the teens of the 2000s and Jeff Darlington. That made them contenders year in and year out for that division. It just hasn't been that way. So in your mind, how close are the Cowboys to going with the 5-step plan and being contenders?
Nothing about their last off seasons have suggested that they're willing to be that aggressive. So it's more of a show me situation. Don't tell me about it. I mean, like that was a wonderful presentation, but I felt like I was back in the 8th grade history class where like halfway through it, I was like literally looking down at my phone, scrolling. It was wonderful. It was very interesting, but I just realized, oh my God, the Cowboys have a lot to do.
In 8th
like
grade?
Actually, I'm pretty young. The Nokia 5120, that thing was pretty, playing Snake on that thing. Listen, Bill, that was amazing. That was wonderful. But my head hurts for the Cowboys. Yeah. Oh, my God. They have a lot to do. They have a lot to do.
See, Jeff Darlington, back when us old guys were in 8th grade, we actually had like an overhead projector where you slide this thing on it, like this plastic slip. And then
what about the graphics calculator? Remember the calculator? You could put the games on there and play them too? Anyway,
was that a Texas Instruments? Was that a Texas Instruments TI-82? So we're calling this Freaky Friday because we want things to be crazy this offseason. We want our guys to be crazier than they already are. So Bill Barnwell, give me a crazy move that needs to happen this offseason.
Here's a crazy move. Get Lamar Jackson, the best receiver he's ever had, in Tyreek Hill. The Dolphins, there's been some little bit of drama there. Tyreek Hill says he wants to come back. Also said he wanted to be traded earlier this offseason. Tyreek Hill is a threat they have not had. You want to stretch the safeties, not just with the running game, but with the vertical passing game. Get Tyreek with the Ravens.
What, do you like it, or is this insane asylum?
No, I love it. I love it. I mean, listen, as many bodies that are committed to trying to stop King Henry and Lamar Jackson in the backfield, you got a guy, elite player that can stretch the field. I love it.
All right, Darlington, get weird. Give me another monster trade you want to see go down.
All right, this is symbolic. I don't know if this is exactly what the Chiefs need to do, but go trade for Deebo Samuel. And my point here is go do something on offense that electrifies this unit. You talk about Tyreek Hill. I understand the Chiefs won a Super Bowl and went to a Super Bowl without Tyreek Hill, but they did so by masking a lot of issues through Patrick Mahomes. Make it a little bit easier. They cannot expect to continue to survive every season without adding some weapons. That's not to say that they are not great. Obviously, I'm respecting all that they have done, but just find a way to add a weapon like Deebo Samuel.
Bill Barnwell?
Love it. I mean, Deebo Samuel is the yak god. Last 4 years in ESPN's yak score, first, and second amongst receivers. Chiefs have some good receivers, but not guys who are typically going to make magic happen on their own. Deebo Samuel is the kind of guy who could run away from cornerbacks and run through tackle attempts. The Chiefs don't have that guy, especially with Rashee Rice injured this past season.
Yeah, if you get the Chiefs another weapon, look out again because we don't know Travis Kelce's future. Finally, Damien Woody, it is your chance. I want you to get so crazy it doesn't even make sense.
No, it makes perfect sense, actually. How about figuring out this NFL replay for these type of plays right here? Okay, the personal foul on quarterbacks, we got to do something about this. These plays are too consequential in games, especially in these playoff games where we have phantom calls going on out here that are costing teams. The NFL, we got an apparatus to go ahead and clarify this stuff. Let's take advantage of it.
So you're saying you should be able to replay some of these awful roughing the passer calls?
Absolutely. They're too consequential. 15 yards? Come on, man. We got to do something about that.
Jeff Darlington, I would take it one step further because I think that's fantastic. You know what my pet peeve is with replays, and we just saw it there? You can make anything look how you want it when you slow it down. Football's not played in slow motion. Do the damn replay full speed.
Also, do we have to just show the Chiefs one every single time? It's always the one where they're, literally in fast motion. Like, I feel like that's just not the one to show. There's so many of them. I do agree with what Damien's saying, and I think it's okay to slow things down. But man, that one every single time, like the refs in real time. That's tough to call. I do agree that replay would help situations like that. Because
it's one of those game situations, Barnwell, like we just said. Those are pivotal calls, and they are sometimes, most oftentimes now, with how we're protecting quarterbacks, aren't warranted.
Yeah, I would say the thing here is bring a sky judge in. Refs are going to make mistakes. That's the inevitability of football because of the speed that you guys have brought up. It's going to be hard to make those calls in a fraction of a second. Bring in a sky judge. Let them act quickly. Don't require a challenge. Have someone up top watching video on every play saying, hey, if there's an obvious mistake, like a missed face mask, like a hit to the head of Patrick Mahomes that was a phantom hit, get that call right. That's going to make the game better without slowing it down too much.